Josh Brown.
I mean, it's
So
been a year.
yeah, like it's been a year, and then me and Jenna Thomas, the alcoholic beat writer,
Hmm.
were just talking yesterday on Facebook where I found his statement yesterday to be very unfortunate,
Hmm.
where he mentions that, and this is one of the biggest issues that's going on with the NFL right now,
Hmm.
is them being hypocrites
Yeah.
and contradictory of their stance on domestic violence.
Hmm.
Um, you look at him on his article where he quotes, they want to evaluate the extent of Josh Brown's
Abuse. Yeah.
abuse toward his wife. And you know, I don't want to say comical because it's a sensitive topic,
Hmm.
but to me, it's just really disheartening and funny in a sad sense that we're even he even used that type of terminology
Hmm.
in regards to what's going on with the situation. I mean,
Does it matter
um,
how bad it was?
yeah, exactly. Like, what
What
what he
extent?
unclear about? Yeah, what he unclear about on the extent. You know, I don't understand that. Isn't one time enough?
I mean, the fact that he put his hands on his wife. I mean, the man has admitted that he you know in this diary that they got a hold to, which is something that he was using as part of his therapy to, I guess, go in and
Right.
write his feelings. But and I guess to himself, he can be honest about what he did and did not do. And all of this became evidence in an investigation that is now closed by the Washington sheriff, this city in Washington State.
Washington County.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So this city, this county in Washington State, the sheriff department, and they have threw the sheriff department under the bus to the fact that the leader of that department, I think Kings County, Washington,
Right.
the Kings County sheriff got on ESPN today to defend his department and how they handled it.
Right.
So.
We go back to we even go back to the promo where
Mhm.
his wife had to get a separate hotel room because Josh Brown apparently got drunk
Mhm.
and he had, you know, hit his wife Molly
Mhm.
and was making threats and the
Making
NFL
this.
even intervened
Yeah.
and switched hotel rooms so he couldn't get to her. So it's just kind of crazy how Mara goes on record and says that anybody seems to be unclear, quote unquote, about the extent of the domestic violence that was committed on his wife by via Josh Brown. I mean, it's very unfortunate, and it's just one of those things
They just
that you know
they don't
the
get it.
NFL is running around doing commercials,
Mhm.
you know, talking about one team enough and this whole campaign that they have launched about domestic violence, about letting somebody know. And the NFL has been let know numerous times, you know, by Josh Brown's wife Molly, and they are just coming around to being closed out.
I mean, it lets me know that the NFL is tone deaf. Everything they've done is all about lip service. They're talking the talk, but they're not walking the walk, and
Absolutely.
it's hypocrisy to me. So anything you
Absolutely.
do now is hypocrisy. You don't really. They talk about supporting Josh Brown, but like I said, something in a chat in a comment section. Why does supporting Josh Brown equal to him still being a giant? Why does
Exactly. And a lot of the pushback has been, well, you can't take away his you know, his living, what he does for a living. Yes, you absolutely can.
football? Football is not his
You have a
right.
right,
Yeah.
right? You have a right to work in the country, but you don't have a right to work in the NFL.
No, you don't.
And it's just amazing to me that we have spent much and much you know, regarding Colin Kaepernick and his protest
Hmm.
and kneeling for the anthem. And we've seen so many players, including the New York Giants star, Jason Pugh,
Hmm.
who has been very vocal about the anti-Kaepernick protests and things of
Hmm.
that nature. However, he has just now,
Hmm.
just as of today, started to walk back his comments in support of Josh Brown in this half-assed attempt that he didn't know all the details.
Uh-huh.
Well, if you didn't know all the details, then why were you backing him
Yeah.
so much? from sports. And furthermore, in regards to the NFL, you and me have sat one at studios one panel and have heard you repeat it many times
Mhm.
that the NBA is slowly
Mhm.
working its way up to dethrone the NFL because you look at things and how the NFL is operating in regards to certain controversies, especially with the social controversy of domestic violence these days in 2016.
Mhm.
We are starting to witness the NFL act a lot like the NCAA, which everybody has come to start to despise in regards to their stances on how they approach subjects and on how they deal out punishment with regards to players, teams, breaking rules.
It smacks of total arrogance and tone deafness from the league, and that kind of behavior will lose you over time. Will lose your viewership. I mean, it's kind of hard to stick in there with them, you know.
The viewership has gone down. Again, we're starting to see the NFL, Rochdale
Mhm.
treading on a thin line. He's starting to look a lot like Mark Eggers on the NCAA. And
Yeah.
that is an alarming
Powerless.
scenario situation that's going on right now.
Yeah. So the Giants this weekend, they didn't take Josh Brown with them overseas, and he's now on the commissioner's exempt list. What does that mean? I don't know. They're saying all.
The exempt list basically means that it's only something that Fidel can do himself.
Mhm.
He needs damage control, nothing more than damage control. It's not known whether or not Josh Brown will be on this basically paid leave.
Yeah.
It's not quite clear whether or not it's paid leave, but as of now, he cannot participate for the New York Giants.
And along the way, they have alienated this police force in Kings County, Washington, throwing them under the bus. They've alienated women again by. We just went through this with Ray Rice and with Greg Hardy. Yet you seem like you haven't learned the lesson. Now this is the top story going into the weekend instead of all the other stories, and it seems like somebody said, you care more about shoes, dancing in the end zone. You care more about airing a football. But when it's time for when a female is getting hurt in her own home by one of your players, it's just a 1 game suspension for personal conduct. What's the priority here? I mean, so much. And
The priority has always been protecting the shield.
hmm and
And we're still in the NFL, again, much like the NCAA, is more about protecting their image than they are doing the right thing all the time.
yeah, it seems to be the thing. I mean, and I'm not going to get too deep into it because I've sounded off. I got it off my chest, and we're going to have much more to say about it over the next week or two to see what happens with Josh Brown. I hope he gets the support he needs. They said he's in some kind of therapy. I hope he stays in therapy. But like I said before, he doesn't need to be in a New York Giants uniform in order to get therapy and support from the Giants.
Exactly. And I don't feel like they need to be, you know, even in as it stands right now. And I just feel like at this point, in my opinion, this whole situation, I feel as though the NFL has hopes that this will just kind of go
Well,
away.
yeah, they tried.
In the beginning, that
Mhm,
fans look at fans and media look on kickers and punters
mhm.
in the NFL. The NFL is hoping that this will kind of fall to the wayside as more due diligence is done and this does not arise in such a huge fashion.
That's why I said they were. That's why I was saying that it was arrogance. I mean, why would you think that people learning of this, people would, first of all, you thought that they wouldn't learn of it. Second of all, you thought that it would be okay if they did learn of it. So I don't know. Man. Well, Aaron, are you gonna be able to stay online for a while?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna take a break, and then when we come back, we'll start talking about your favorite subject. What's gonna happen with these the Cubs and the Dodgers this weekend?
Yeah, down but not out. Just keep that in mind. On the game six and we're going to discuss Chicago and the game.
All right then, AUMA Radio. Let me pull this up, and I'm gonna try to do this music break, and then we can get it together. AUMA Radio, Sold Out Sports.
You're listening to AUMA Radio.
That's the producers.
If I got them on mute, can I hear them still? Okay. You're being broadcasted. I'm gonna mute you.
Music.
Let's take this shit back to the 90s. No cell phone makes me wanna find me. No one I'm out here grinding. Let's take this shit back to the 90s.
But now everything is digital.
Let's take this shit back to the 90s.
Now everything is digital.
Let's take this shit back to the 90s.
Now everything is digital.
Let's take this shit back to the 90s.
Now everything is music.
Pad flip phone, Motorola two-way. I can't wait to Tuesday. Go get off this two-way. Catch me on the four-way. White like OJ. Shell toe for diesel. Running from the police. Crime seem to increase. This shit that went digital. I'ma stay old school. Keep following my old rules. Leader of the new school. Try to get these new food. Show us something they don't know. Gotta build dedication. Know you stay dedicated.
You sure you got something cool?
Here's a plan for your sight. Don't slip on that black ice. Sometimes you gotta look twice. Sometimes you gotta look twice. Don't slip on that black ice. Let's take this shit back to the 90s. No cell phone, hey, you wanna fight me? I would wonder how you fight me. Let's take this shit back to the 90s. 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 Hey, I did the digital dash, gave it real whiplash. When the money she passed, system on blast, ridiculous on snatch. Dope on the microphone, boy, I spit this snap. Ninth dimension with raps, I'm like 80s baby. Yeah, the 90s raised me, but the 2000s made me crazy. Back in 1997, you can scout off the page, but had the brain the way I joined, but I was still just a baby at first. At 16, it was just a creative first boy. 16, I was riding Mercedes. I remember back then that I ain't have no patience. They were chasing back then, and I'm still doing it daily. Let's take this shit back to the 90s. No film, if you wanna fight, we got the DJ. Huh? Let's take this shit back to the 90s.
I was trying to download music and stuff.
Oh, okay.
We got the jingle tonight.
Thanks for coming over. Things up. Now be careful. Do I need to call you when I leave?
No, that guy supposed to come.
Huh?
That guy supposed to come.
Oh, it's gonna come back. Okay. Anything else I can do?
Play that mix when you leave it out.
This track mix?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't come out, if when you leave it, if you're not here, then I can still open my phone and cut everything off.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ty's here. Here.
Jello Beats, holla at me.
We're back. Aaron, you still with me?
Yeah.
Well, it takes me a few minutes to try to get everything here in order. So everybody, I'm glad you're being patient with me. I know it's a show if you tuned it in on Facebook Live or on Periscope to watch me struggle with all this equipment, but I'm gonna get there. Well, I'm good. All right, then before the break, after we were talking about that Josh Brown situation, I mentioned that we were going to start talking about something more fun. This is Sports Talk Radio. I hate talking about stuff like that, but it is what's going on today. It's what's in the world. But Aaron, talk to me about what's going to happen this weekend between the Dodgers and the Cubs. You guys gonna pull it out, or is it going to be the Cubs' day?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I'll tell you this much: if the Cubs handle Clayton Kershaw on Saturday's game in Chicago, then I'll be able to tip my cap to them and say that they deserve to be in the World Series. It's funny that things have turned out this way. It's so good to see that throughout the 10 weeks that Clayton Kershaw was hurt, and getting by and being able to basically run away with the NL West, and then come point in the NLCS, they literally struggled with, everybody else on the mound except for Reggie Hill with Clayton Kershaw. So now, same thing as them, they're going to be upon the back again of Clayton Kershaw and Reggie Hill. So it's not the series for the Dodgers. But you can be good. I mean, the Cubs have looked tremendous in the last 2 days. They scored some 18 runs in games 4 and 5, but for games 1, 2, and 3, they couldn't even get over 3 runs. So the Dodgers offense off the bat needs to wake up in game 6 and 7, and Clayton Kershaw, he's expected
Well, I saw the interview with John Lester after the game yesterday. The Cubs are looking pretty confident, and the Indians have already clinched, and they're just sitting back waiting. Who has the advantage here? Playing a game six, game seven, or the Cleveland Indians who have time to rest and relax and wait on NLCS?
A lot of people are saying that Cleveland Indians have the advantage, which, in theory, it sounds like that they'll be waiting a couple of extra days and the World Series likely won't be underway on Tuesday, and that you're expecting a team that's probably going to a seven-game series or a six-game series to be higher, but at the same time, you can also make an argument in the case for that momentum carried into, being fresh off the plane the night before. They carry you well into the World Series. So, it can go both ways, in my opinion. You never know. Some players like to, some players like not to have a long layoff going into a championship or to the next series. And some players like that, like the extra rest. So, you never really know. It just sounds nice from a sports talk perspective, in my opinion, to say that being rested, quote unquote, and having that layover for the Cleveland Indians is an advantage to Cleveland.
Well, something that was kind of fun that I thought that was kind of going around. We were speaking about, personal conduct issues. There's a movement on Twitter, on social media, to get Charlie Sheen, better known as Wild Thing from the Major League, to come and throw out the first pitch for the Indians in Game One. So, what do you think? Should we? Charlie Sheen's had his issues with drugs and behavior problems. Is this a good thing, or does the Cleveland Indians have too much time on their hands waiting on the series to win? They should be focusing on just resting.
Sometimes I think that the best interest for the game is not to listen to fans all the time. Charlie Sheen has a lot of, again, like you said, personal conduct behavior, and with sports landscape being what it is right now, with issues with personal conduct and domestic abuse, which has been a point of emphasis that has been addressed this season in baseball with certain players. I remember he got as Braves they go, his girlfriend have situation with New York Yankees closer, uh, Chapman, I think it was, who's now in Cubs.
Oh, really?
Is it Chapman now? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Chapman or not, but when he shot at his wife in the garage, he spent the 6 games. I just think that whole Charlie Sheen thing, it sounds fun for a nostalgic fan base. Thinking about Major League that be a great boost for ratings, but on the back end, we're kind of giving a person a platform who has had many issues that are self-inflicted in their own right. You will be giving him a platform to celebrate him by throwing the first pitch of the World Series. I don't think it'll be a good idea.
Yeah, it's too much. I mean, it would be. I'm a fan of Major League, and I even like the fact that the Indians have even put a little shrine to Jobu in their locker room, which is I thought was kind of funny. But let's not bring Charlie Sheen back into the mix. Everything's going great. So let's let that.
Take care of his health
Mhm.
and what he has going on right now. But I think baseball Commissioner Manfred would be better served leaving him where it's at.
That's correct. I agree. Another thing that's been going around with the Cubs and Steve Bartman, is it time to make peace with Bartman before possibly going into? And I know you're a Dodgers fan, so it doesn't matter to you either way. Matter of fact, you might want to have the Steve Bartman hanging over them for personal reasons. But is it time to make peace with Bartman?
You know what? I don't hang it over for personal reasons because I think that he's railroaded and it was very unfair how he was treated. If you ever watch the ESPN 30 for 30 about Chicago Cubs called Catching Hell and talking about the market situation.
Yeah, I have.
Can't help but
Feel sorry for the cat.
feel sad
Yeah.
for him and kind of feel like this day in a sense for Chicago fans. I can't understandably work upset with him, but blowback of how they literally just ruined that kid's life.
Mhm.
Um, to a point where he doesn't even, come out anymore. He doesn't, Cubs games or anything like that. It's very unfortunate. I think as far as making teams, I think it would be a nice gesture for the Cubs that they probably would try, but ultimately it was all since that happened, and that was what 14 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Since that happened, we haven't heard from Martin Luther King out there on public, records and recognition with doing any interviews or having been spotlight or say in regards to the Chicago Cubs. So I think that the Cubs should just move on and not really
Address it.
think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are you looking forward to? What should the fans be looking forward to in the next game or two? I know Kershaw is hit, and I know you mentioned a couple of bats. Who needs to get hot in order for the Dodgers to win, or who needs to get hot in order for the Cubs to win?
Well, for the Dodgers, starting there, Derek Jeter needs to get hot. Justin Turner needs to get hot. You would ideally like to see Tweet get hot, but I just not something that I would really expect much of. But those two things are people that you want to see their bats pick up in these next two games, especially on the road. Uh, the Dodgers, for a long time, have had issues in getting Clayton Kershaw run support. As we've seen in the last start that Kershaw had, the Dodgers only gave him one run. Uh, but you need to treat all Lakers. I mean, Adrian Gonzalez has done pretty well. He's been pretty vocal in the series so far, and he's kind of a top of the conversation and play with him tweeting and things of that nature. So he's already doing what he needs to do and kind of shouldering some of the blame and attention, for the rest of the Dodgers. So now it's just up to guys like Justin Turner and Corey Seager. It's not to expect from the rookie of the year, Corey Seager, and keeping up first postseason this team. And, it's a lot of pressure for him, but he would like to see those guys wake up. With Andrew Cole starting right now, which is an amazing story of his, by the way. Basically, coming from single A to major league in a matter of months this season, and now been a very key player for the Dodgers, defensively and offensively. With him playing the way that he's playing, it would be nice to see Seager and Turner, their back heat up and, kind of carry the Dodgers offense. In regards to Chicago, you've seen Baez be real thorn in the side. You also want to see him keep going what he's doing. Chris Bryant and Rizzo, those are the key guys that you want to see heat up for the Chicago Cubs. They heated up in games where Rick Hill and Clayton Kershaw were pitching, but with Clayton Kershaw and Rich Hill have been on the mound, they have not been effective at all for the Chicago offense, and it has been a problem. Chicago has basically scored off their runs, on guys who are not named Rich Hill and Clayton Kershaw. So if the longer that Rich Hill and Clayton Kershaw stay in the game, the harder it may be for Chicago Cubs to score runs if the Dodgers bullpen doesn't explode, after 6, 7 innings on the mound. So you really want to see Rizzo and Chris Bryant get things jump started for the Cubs.
Well, so you're saying what I'm hearing is Clayton Kershaw needs to throw a complete game, and also Rich Hill needs to throw a complete game because if he gets into that, the bullpen can't.
Yeah, I mean, what it comes down to, the bullpen has not looked bullpen has not been effective at all in the last 2 games at home, which is a problem for the Dodgers. So you want Clayton Kershaw as well as Rich Hill to at least give you a small 6 2/3, maybe 7.5 innings, and hand the ball over to, you don't want to me, and I know Dave Roberts is probably going to throw Joe Blanton out there because you don't want to ruin his confidence, although he's given up two key home runs, uh, four key home runs, 3 games that have basically ruined the Dodgers' chances. So you're going to keep trying him out anyway, but you at least want to keep like 1 inning, hold him over to the 8, and just give the ball to give him chances, and keep him and let him throw another six out late.
Well, I think I'm gonna be. You got me because I know you're such a big Dodgers fan, and that's one of the reasons that I try to tune in and keep up with the baseball because the Braves are not in it. But I am, like I said, I am interested in the fact in this Cup Dodgers series tomorrow and Sunday on FS1. I know we had said earlier that that if it gets game 6 or 7, that it might go to Fox. They're keeping it on FS1. I mean, it's probably the best ratings that they've got so far, and so
It
they're.
is, but it's really disappointing that
It should be on. It should be on Fox. Yeah.
yeah, it should be there. You're talking about 16 combined, what, 134 years in one World Series.
Very old and venerable fan bases and
Yeah.
organizations.
What we do is put these franchises on FS1, and that's not a shot at FS1. FS1 is really just trying to push the meter, but just looking at cable companies,
The casual fan can't find it. Yeah.
you don't even know where to find FS1 in cable outlets. If you're a casual fan, so it's not a terrible thing. That's what it is with baseball. Yeah, and that's your question about baseball. And another thing is how long you get saying.
Hmm.
There's nothing baseball can really do about it. A lot of people keep saying that baseball needs to look into it. I think they have tried to look into it. I have to pitch a lot of clocks on balancing and where you only have 30 seconds to come off the pitch one now. And games, we have all this countdowns in baseball, and yet still, last 30 games we got knocked out. So, yeah, there's really nothing to do about that.
Well, that is. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Along with, it's going to be a great weekend of sports. We're going to have our regular college football on Saturday. There's going to be some great matchups. I'm going to give Aaron a break. I'm going to put him on hold for a little bit, and then when we come back, we're going to start talking about college football and what to look forward for this weekend, and maybe even throw some picks out there. So, like we like to do. So, after this break, we'll get to that. And UMA Radio, Sold Out Sports.
Morning Brooklyn, hillbilly Banksy, catalog speaks for itself when I'm stanky. Stands on track, they recorded close like this. Really only cares like 20 people like this. Man, Nikes, couple fly Jordans, couple DCs, and the rest is unemployed. Get accustomed to calling the office. You want to speak to check that requires an appointment. Race yourself, your bank account blocked. Lost in a sample suit to wallah, like it said. Under pressure with a larger worldwide. Should I give it all up to see my dad in his dots? But I said nada, so we gotta keep it poppin'. So it's on the picnic, it's probably time to pop. Karate kid, older two playing younger. Trained by two together, down to evolution. Older two playing younger. Trained by two together, not to evolution hunger. Mr. Whole Fusion, evolution number. Trained by two together, not to evolution hunger. Karate kid, older two playing younger. Trained by two together, not to evolution hunger. Mr. Whole Fusion, evolution number. Trained by two together, not to evolution hunger. I pull my weight like a John Deere tractor. You should never let the impossible be a negative factor. Clean rap sheet, no space for rabbit holes. Just make my own lane, had to cultivate my swagger culture. I Joe, deal spray labels, straight and pass it out on my subway neighbor. I'm still been a decade of mischief and mayhem. I'm a misfit, I'm hot, so get it where you fit. I'm politics, political, my time capsule's critical. See, our drama doesn't ever leave the locker room. Space layer rocket center, supernova sonic boom. Like my nemesis, respect is my pocket. Body show is love, we were guests in they hood. In the heads that came to shows every chance that they could. Every person spread the word, my wordy words a dirty street. Every housekeeper made had to clean my dirty sheet. I'm sorry, the two playing younger. Trained by two givers, not to evolution hunger. Mr. Whole Fusion, evolution number. number. Trained by two givers, not to evolution hunger. Karate kid on the fruit playing younger. Trained by two givers, not to evolution hunger. Wisdom will fusion, never lose the number. Trained by two givers, not to evolution hunger.
Welcome back. AUMA Radio Sold Out Sports. I still got you, Aaron. Well, it's on to our college football segment. So much is going on in the world of college football. I mean, that's my favorite sport. I know it's a sport that I follow first in my heart. And it seems like yesterday, even though I love the sport, there has been some crazy things I missed yesterday, like Miami and Virginia Tech game. Virginia Tech just. I mean, I was watching the Packers in the that sad game, the Packers and the Bears, and I should have been watching this game. Why was I watching the Packers and the Bears?
I have no idea. The only thing about the Packers and the Bears was almost enjoyable was the fact that, the USC guy and Matt Barkley got some time to shine, but, that was very short-lived, and then after that I turned the game. I didn't want to watch any more of that.
Yeah, I should have been watching.
Sad display, but yeah. Virginia Tech and Miami, man, what is up with Virginia Tech? It's like
they up, they down. I don't know what to make with. I don't know what to make of them.
And the same can be said with Miami. It's a very inconsistent team. That same stand though, Virginia Tech is in control, what they call control of their own destiny, in their division in the ACC.
Well, Mark Richt. I mean, people are probably upset this past weekend when Georgia lost to Vanderbilt, but now that Mark Richt is losing games that he probably shouldn't have. What do you think of this? What do you think of the Kirby Smart first year at Georgia and the first year of Mark Richt at Miami? How's it working out?
I mean, Mark Richt is playing with other people's money right now when it comes to his team. Guys, and, the same thing can be said with Kirby Smart as well. Most coaches are playing with kids who aren't their kids, and we're recruiting on their system. So it's going to take a while. You're going to have your bumps and bruises and your lumps that you're going to take in the first year. It's to expect Mark Richt to just walk into 12 games and 10, 11 games. So it's very far-fetched to start. Miami, it's a good team. It's not a world beater. They're not going to set the world on fire with that team. Frank High is a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. So, the fact that, the fact of the matter is that Mark Richt hasn't lost two bad games. Virginia Tech is a bad team, and the last one we took to
Florida State, North Carolina. Yeah, they lost to North Carolina, Florida State, and now to Virginia Tech.
That's right. They haven't been beat by a tremendous bad team. So the good losses that Mark Richt has, it's not like they're ugly losses. It just is what it is, and if the Miami Hurricanes team came out with an 8,000 win season, then that's a success for Mark Richt in his first year in Miami. In my opinion, I think it would be much better than many other coaches could do. I think Mark Richt gets a bad rap all too much for his coaching prowess. He's not looking at I've been a huge defender of Mark Richt, over the years. So, I think he's doing what he can with what he has. He's doing a pretty good job. In regards to Kirby Smart, same thing.
A bad loss. A very bad loss.
Bad loss. But, let's keep the real. Vanderbilt is not a terrible football team. They have good talent. They haven't been blown out in many of their games. They held Florida very close in the Florida game and almost knocked off Florida at one point in that game. Was really hanging in there with Florida. So things be expected with Georgia. I think many people would consider Florida to be a better team than Georgia. So it's not really a surprise that Vanderbilt beat Florida. Kirby Smart is playing with a rookie quarterback, freshman, and Jacob Eason.
Yeah, and the freshman quarterback, he's gotta take his lumps.
Yeah, you gotta take him up. But I think there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure on, especially in college now. And we've seen this a lot in NFL too. We put this tremendous amount of pressure on rookies, freshmen, to walk in the door because we see the exceptions to the rules, such as Josh Rosen, late last year.
Well, Jalen Hurts this year.
Right. And we see these freshman quarterbacks walk in programs and they win 9 games. And we think that it's all about the quarterback, but people do not understand football enough where they don't recognize that there is 11 other guys out there on the field. And oftentimes when a lot of these coaches are willing, and big name programs are willing to field freshman quarterbacks, is because you have a senior running back or a junior running back, or you have junior and senior playmaking wide receivers. You have, 3 upperclassmen on your offensive line.
You got players around them. Yeah.
Right. You have 8, 9 returning players on returning starters on defense, things of that nature. That is what helps freshman quarterbacks succeed, and that's why you got Rosen as a front seven. UCLA sent a couple of guys in the NFL draft out of that class. Josh Rosen was a freshman. So you don't have that necessarily with Georgia team. Georgia team is a lot of young guys, and I think a lot of fans unfortunately expected Jacob Eason to come out there in his freshman season and lead Georgia to an SEC title with a pretty new offensive line, not made of supremely experienced players who are NFL, future players, and they figured that he would just wing the ball around and do his thing, and that Nick Chubb would do the rest of the work and run Georgia's national championship. And I think it was a pie in the sky expectation to have.
Well, I know there's a lot of fan bases now. They're up in arms, but it's the first year. Calm down. It's going to be okay. Relax.
Relax. Let Jacob Eason do his work. Let the kids grow up. He's going to take his lumps. He's going to take his lumps in his first year. And don't judge what Kirby Smart is doing right now until Jacob Eason, I would say, is at least in his junior year. We can't expect the 18-year-old to come fresh out of high school and lead big name programs to national championships. Yes, there are exceptions to the rules, but the exceptions are not the standard.
Exactly. So I'm gonna do the rundown like we usually do on Fridays, and talk about some of the games that are coming up this weekend, and let's get an opinion. Tonight, looking at tonight, Friday night, we got 3 pretty good matchups, intriguing matchups for me. South Florida and Temple, kind of intriguing because Temple, South Florida, good programs in the AAC, but two programs out west. I mean, 2 games out west: San Jose State and San Diego State at San Diego State, and Oregon at Cal. So
I gotta say, yes, San Diego State easily. Telling you, I've been on San Diego State before, so they have a good program out there. They're playing San Jose State. San Jose State has been a bottom feeder for a bunch of I can remember. They're 2-5. San Diego State wins that game easily. San Diego State is going to be ranked one, and they're probably going to win 10 games.
yeah, I think there was some. Is there a Heisman candidate that's out there that people are under the radar Heisman candidate? I forgot his name. I think they were talking about him earlier. But if I get a chance to get eyes on that game, I want to check it out and check him out.
The only one I can think of might be Christian Chapman, but Christian Chapman's going to get sophomore, and it's a Mountain West school, so I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too
Okay.
up in arms about it.
So Oregon at Cal. Probably last year, a year or two ago, would have been a very exciting game, but now it's that what could have been. Mark Helfrich, the
Yeah.
Oregon Ducks are struggling. Cal is, they're a perennial, moderate, middle of the road kind of team in the Pac-12. So who's the biggest loser? I mean, really, who can't afford to win this game, to lose this game?
I think as it stands, I think the Elfridge really can't afford to lose this game. I know a lot of people are saying that he's not necessarily on the hot seat because he basically is the orchestrator of those great Oregon teams that, became the trend in crowd, or in crowd, because he was a heavy recruiter for a lot of the talent that came through Oregon when Chip Kelly was there. But at the same time, I think that the more Oregon loses, and now they're sitting at 2-4 right now. I think a 2-5 start for Oregon might be a really bad look for Kelfrich's tenure at Oregon. Despite the fact that he won 10 games last year, this is no longer the standard at the University of Oregon, and a 2-5 record to a team that literally, the only reason that I think Cal is 3-3. Which is a tremendously bad record, but it's still bad by Cal standards based off of the past few years of looking at Jerry Goff. It's because they don't, have Jerry Goff anymore. So I think if Cal beats Oregon, then Oregon's at 2-5, and you got to start kind of looking around and wondering if Chip Kelly is feeling an itch to come back to Oregon.
I mean, right now the Pac-12 has been so off the radar. Stanford did not turn out the way that I thought they would. The Stanford program. Who's the standard bearer out there in the Pac-12? Who's?
Believe it or not, right now it's Washington, of course. And I'm still kind of lukewarm on Washington. Washington hasn't played anybody. They beat up on Oregon. When it was still cool to beat up on Oregon, it still matters to the AP voters. But right now, I would say the standard is USC, and that's not me being a homer. USC is on a 3-game, winning streak. They're doing their thing, sitting there 4-3 right now. They need to lose a couple games to consistent offense. They need to lose a couple games to still be in the mix of winning the competition. But as of right now, I think it's USC and Washington. And Washington and USC have a date with one another this season that could really completely eliminate Pac-12 out of the college football playoff if USC were to not Washington off.
Wow. So much high hopes at the beginning of the season for the Pac-12 is down to Washington, kind of a new kid on the block, and we'll see. Let's go down this list a little bit here. Looking at Central Michigan at Toledo, looking at Indiana at Northwestern, Wisconsin at Iowa, a top 10 match. Wisconsin has been a tough out. They're still a top 10 ranked team. But Wisconsin has been laying the wood on people. I see them. I don't see them having any problems at Iowa, although Iowa can be tough.
Yeah, the thing with Iowa is that Iowa's defense, man, Iowa has defense outside of their running game, and they would be such a much better team and be in a much better position to lose than Illinois. But that being said, even the defense of Iowa that has been getting them out a lot of games, man, and keep them in the race, really, and quarterbacks who are not kind of content going to the NFL draft after the season. They got a great linebacker out there.
So you calling the upset? You calling the upset against Wisconsin?
I'm thinking it's possible. I know I don't want to keep harping off of the Iowa Georgia State game.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that was still a red flag for me. Wisconsin's offense is, in my opinion, still not very good. They still could perform. And I think that with that defense, with Iowa, where they have Tristan Moore and
Especially after last weekend against Ohio State, maybe a little hangover. Who knows?
yeah, and that's another thing. And again, that Iowa defense, man, they have Desmond King, who is, to me, probably a first round NFL talent at cornerback. They have Greg Maven on the other end at corner. He's also probably a late second round pickup in the NFL draft. I have players on the defense that can keep them in the game, so that has been keeping them in the game. So that's why I was for too. And if Wisconsin cannot get their offense going against that Iowa defense,
It'll be a long day.
Yes, and all it takes for Iowa's main source of that offense is Watley, the running back. I think it's Aaron Watley. I think that's his name. He's the running back. He has like 600 yards this season rushing. Abram Watley. He's their running back. If they can get him going, and that defense can hold down Wisconsin's offense, then it may be a long day in Iowa. So, I was watching. I wasn't calling an upset. Let's see what Iowa's offense can make some moves and actually make some plays in the passing game. That's what Iowa's main knock is. The passing game is not very good. Their quarterback is best running quarterback. That's what he does best for the most part. But they can get watching going in that defense and maybe create some turnovers on the Wisconsin offense. Yeah, it might be a long day for Iowa. Or it's a team, a positive team, and Iowa's a positive team. So, this could be a big game for Iowa, and it's really the gauge of where they stand in the Big Ten.
So next game up, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that game right at 12 noon. NC State and Louisville. Now, NC State they should have won. They should have beat Clemson last week. No excuse for not beating them, except for the kicker, who just doesn't know how to kick.
Well, what they always say, hearing from many football players, beat the game up to the kicker, you can't complain if you lose the game. You got 8 plays to get the first down. You could have made plays and made it closer than 34 yards. Although in theory he didn't get a nail of 34 yards, but he did it. And the NC State offense, I'm sure, is blaming nobody but themselves for not making more plays where the field goal was close to more scoring. The touchdown themselves to steal that game.
So you think they can feel the magic again? Maybe no. Louisville will put it away.
Yeah, I think that game was fighting for them losing to Clemson. It's a game that they literally had and grabbed in their hands with 1 second left. They was managed to blow it. I think we've seen the last of the state matches for this season, and they started to get on the road in Louisville. I think Louisville takes off and then rock high.
So, well, I agree. I'll keep my eye on it for Heisman numbers, but other than that, I don't think that NC State will give Louisville any problems. Big 12, we got 3 matchups back to back at 12. Oklahoma State at Kansas, Texas at Kansas State. Any problems? I would expect Oklahoma State and Texas, but Texas worries me because they're just so inconsistent. And I'm wondering if Charlie Strong, because of all the talk about him keeping his job, has he lost the team? Has he lost the attention of the team to be able to go into Manhattan, Kansas, and take on a rock solid Kansas State team? It might be Kansas State's day.
Yeah, it might be. To me, I think this is a game that probably be a Charlie Strong fire.
Yeah.
Kansas State beats Texas. Again, man, Charlie Strong is a very good coach, but he has not been given the time to establish a competent quarterback at the University of Texas yet, and his time is running very short. And I don't think that this is going to be the year where.
Yeah, he's not going to get any breaks.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any breaks this year.
And pay attention to the Kansas-Oklahoma State game. Kansas is a tough out. Despite the fact that they're 1-5, they stay in a lot of games. They stick around. Oklahoma State, though, they have a high-powered offense. They do make a lot of mental lapses defensively. So Kansas just, kind of leave the opportunity on a lot of those mental lapses for Oklahoma State for the rest of the football.
Yeah, that would be a very big upset in my eyes. I mean, I can't see. Kansas State has been a perennial doormat in the Big 12, so I can't see, them losing to Oklahoma State or beating Oklahoma State. But anything can happen on any given Saturday. let's see, I'm looking at Rutgers at Minnesota, Syracuse at Boston College. Uh, you want to say anything about Minnesota Rutgers? Or
Rutgers gonna lose. I don't think Rutgers is gonna win another game. That same thing. And I know my boy Adam. He is out there. I know he's a huge Rutgers fan. Right? He's like going to the bubble, but right now Rutgers is looking pretty bad, man. And Minnesota's going to Minnesota football team as well. And then Minnesota, I don't think Rutgers is coming out there with a victory.
I think Boston College has been really tough this year. So is Syracuse. Syracuse has been a very tough team this year. So a great ACC matchup on the ACC network. I gotta say I see Syracuse coming out with it, but with Boston College you can never tell. So they.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a boring game for those who like offense. Both teams have pretty good defenses, so I'm thinking probably a good game.
So going down the list, I see Colorado at Stanford. You see Colorado giving Stanford any problems?
I think Colorado beats Stanford. Stanford's not a good team. Christian McCaffrey, Heisman party has been put on and been canceled.
So Colorado upset Stanford at home? Really?
I don't even think it's an upset. I think Colorado is a better team. Stanford, they haven't been playing good football. They haven't beat anybody that's relevant, and their offense is hemorrhaging right now. Christian McCaffrey has not been the same Christian McCaffrey of old. Like we always say, once they get game film on you, no longer a secret, and that's what it seems to be the case. Christian McCaffrey, you all hailing him as 2016, 2017 Heisman season and the beginning of 2016, and he got shown up. And Colorado was a good football team. And Colorado had a good offense and a really good defense that held USC to only 21 points, and they almost beat USC. USC, held on strong, they were not small, man. Colorado, they were ranked at one time, like Stanford was, but I think Colorado can handle Stanford. I'm not liking what I see from Stanford. They beat Notre Dame last week. Notre Dame is a dumpster fire right now.
So, moving on to Navy. Memphis, Navy ranked for the first time this year, I believe, after their upset victory over Houston, taking on Memphis. Any reason to think that Navy can make a run, or was it just Houston and nobody else, or can Navy really make some noise?
I'm not really sure about that. I don't know much about Memphis. So, I don't know what Memphis looks like. I think Navy, like, they have business. Navy is a good football team, but I call the upset between Navy and Houston. Navy is a good football team. Like I said, I don't know much about Memphis other than their 5-1. This is a big road game for them. This is one of those games I believe that probably lets Memphis know where they're at in their conference, and as far as competing with some of the better teams in the top 25, and if they're top 25 worthy, I'm knocking off Navy, but I just don't see it happening. I like what Navy's been doing this season so far. They're pretty high on Navy, and their coaching, man, they got good coaching. I think Navy can win 10 games, and in the beginning, they beat Houston. So based off of that, I'm going to say they can beat Memphis.
Yeah, there may be even a shot this year for Navy to get the Commander-in-Chief trophy. I don't know if they beat Air Force, but if they haven't, that's the only loss they have is the Air Force. I mean, so that is it. I mean, they've beaten just about everybody else they come up against. So going down the list here, we get into some Big Ten matchups. Illinois at Michigan. I don't see any problem there with Michigan. Nebraska surprisingly under the radar. Nebraska, top 18. They're playing Purdue this weekend. They're still undefeated. So is it time to start taking a look at Nebraska?
No, not quite. I don't trust Mike Riley. I'm not going to start trusting him now. Yes, he's 6-0. I get that. But I'm seeing the slip up coming soon. Purdue might be the one that just fired their coach, Daryl Hazel. A lot of times, NC players, who are attached to their head coach, kind of rally around event like that when their coach is fired.
Mhm.
So, look out for that game. I'm not calling up them, but just look out for it. It's kind of one of those things where you never know what may happen
Mhm.
because, again, the coach got fired and sometimes the kids take those type of things apart. They don't recruited by that coach. They love that coach and look at that school because of that coach. And the players tend to rally around things like that sometimes. But, you know, looking at what Nebraska has going on, I mean, hey, they got Purdue this week, they got Wisconsin next week.
Mhm.
The other shoe is going to slowly drop for Nebraska. The next couple of weeks, they have road games against Wisconsin and Ohio State.
Yes.
Then they get Minnesota at home, they get Maryland at home, then they have to go on the road to Iowa. So the second half is different from Nebraska. It's more pressing than the first half of it, which they have,
A pretty.
win over Indiana team that can never get out of its own way. They beat Northwestern, Illinois. They beat Oregon before beating Oregon was popular, and they beat Wyoming the rest of the year. So literally left half the play.
So they'll get their chance because, like you said, if they get past Purdue this weekend, the next weekend it'll be Wisconsin, and that'll be a true test of what's what the Nebraska.
Next 2 weeks.
Yes.
Next 2 weeks are road games in Wisconsin and Ohio State. So let's see what Nebraska's really made of in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. So back to schedule. Of course, Wisconsin, West Virginia, not Wisconsin, West Virginia, TCU. We got a ranked West Virginia team against an unranked TCU team, but TCU has never been. I mean, this is a game of no defense. You said a previous game, Iowa and Wisconsin, was to be a game of no offense. I'm calling this as a game of no defense.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna call that enough to give me TCU for that game.
Wow. Yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, West Virginia.
West Virginia is one of those schools that, yeah, I know, they're 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
So West Virginia is one of those schools that always stubs their toe on the wrong game. And I think this TCU game is one of those games where they can really stub their toe. And as much as I begrudgingly, I'm going to say this,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope it doesn't happen because they should be ashamed of themselves on how they've acted in these sexual assault cases.
Mm-hmm.
But I think West Virginia is up ahead in the conference over favor.
Wow. It would probably be very true because I can't really see anybody in the Big 12 this year who can compete with Baylor. I mean, and that's sad to say, but it's the facts are the facts.
Right.
Yeah, skipping over a few more games. Texas A&M and Alabama. Any reason to think that Texas A&M can come into Tuscaloosa and upset? And you know what my feelings are.
I wanna say it's possible with Texas A&M, but looking at how they struggled against Tennessee, who I do know how I feel about Tennessee, I do not find them to be a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're a good team, but I don't feel like they're the best in the SEC by a long shot, and Alabama proved that by upping them by 30 points. No, I got Alabama. It's a home game for Alabama. Alabama has still, Nick Saban doesn't forget. And I know he still has some feelings about that one time that Texas A&M knocked off Bama.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with Alabama. So my brain wants to say go with Texas A&M for the long shot upset
Mm-hmm.
because Texas A&M's quarterback is the former quarterback for Oklahoma, and that's the team that quarterback that beat Alabama in that Sugar Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But my heart says Alabama. To me, it's just making a story. So I'm gonna go with Alabama.
Well, you already know what my heart is, so enough said. Skipping through a few, Utah, UCLA, back to the Pac-12. UCLA, can they pull off the upset in the Rose Bowl?
It would be nice. And I only say that because I watched a couple games. Josh Rosen is hurt this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be a little tough for UCLA to overcome not having Rosen or Rosen being questionable and Rosen being kind of battered. At the same time, this is a desperate UCLA team. UCLA used to lose this game, they're mathematically eliminated. Okay, so now, or there's some desperation game. I think we're going to see a really good game of them. Headed off the head of Rosen. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to go.
Okay. I'm thinking that, something about it. I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe UCLA can pull something off. I'm looking at it as an upset. I'm picking UCLA.
It would be nice, I think, I don't know what Johnny Rose's attitude, if he's playing in this game or not, but that's why it's hard for me to consider whether or not it's going to be an upset. However, I think that we'll see a different UCLA team that we think yeah, they're a different team right now. They need to make something of the team.
Yeah, and this could make their season beating in Utah. So scrolling through a few more because we're getting short on time before we want to try to talk a little professional football. Arkansas at Auburn, I think Auburn could try to come into an upset, but I pretty much have Arkansas, even though it's at Auburn.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Arkansas in that game. I think Arkansas may actually.
Yeah. Except for a loss to maybe Texas A&M and to Alabama, I don't really see. They're a tough out. They're a very tough team. Washington at Oregon State. Oregon State at Washington. I don't see the Oregon State Beavers, railroading the train that Washington is on. At least I shouldn't see it. Not yet. What about Houston at SMU? Houston. We got some other ones here. Let me see. Michigan State at Maryland. You think they can get it together, Michigan State, and win a game? Because I think they've lost their last 3 games. Michigan State has. They need to stop the bleeding. They got to stop the bleeding. Yeah. So going down, Ohio State at Penn State. Penn State. I don't think they can do anything now to upset Ohio State. Oklahoma at Texas Tech. I can't see it. Now, here's an interesting matchup. I got Oklahoma in that matchup. I don't see Texas Tech putting that much of a fight. Ole Miss at LSU. So with LSU, they've done some really good things. They seem to have found some offense and some heart. But Ole Miss, they're climbing back after a loss to Florida State and a loss to Alabama. I think that Ole Miss have already seen their toughest game, but it will be very telling to me to see who wins this game. Is LSU gonna be able to find some moxie and fight off this very, very good Ole Miss team? It's definitely a recruiting game. So it's definitely a game to win some recruits. So
Right, and I'm going to go with LSU here. I've said it since when I got fired. Coach Orgeron is a good coach, and he has a knack for leading teams as an interim coach. He really wants to go to the gig. Again, he's not going to get it, but he really wants to gig. And I think that he's going to make a focus with people have advertised. And personally, I don't think that he should be in the top 25. And I think that LSU is going to show why they should be in the top 25.
yeah, so because this will be a third loss for Ole Miss, and it will also be yeah. Who else did they lose to? Who did I miss? I know they lost to Florida State. They lost to they lose to Arkansas. Man, hey, what was that? I must have fell asleep on that game. I thought they won that. Yeah, so it's gonna be kind of hard to keep the morale high. Really, Ole Miss cannot lose another game, and LSU can't lose another game. So this is a battle to the end. And I think the late games out west, the only one of interest to me, maybe a little bit of interest with Washington State and Arizona State. But I think there's some controversy with Mike Leach. I think he got fined for some comments he made, but I think that's the only news that Washington State makes is when they mouth off, when Mike Leach mouths off. So, but yeah, so I mean, there ain't no football game winning out there, just a bunch of talk. So, we'll give it to Arizona State. It's going to be at Arizona State, and that's what I'm looking to win. So that's the list. We'll keep a lookout for certain games. I called the upset with UCLA. You're calling the upset with Iowa, correct? Over Wisconsin? No. What was it? It was you. I think it was TCU. TCU over West Virginia. Okay, keep a lookout. We've been pretty good at calling these upsets recently. So, yeah. So yeah. Because I'm. And Oklahoma had to show me that they can play defense. Yeah, so, well, when we take a little break, we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little professional football, take a look at what's coming up this weekend. On Sunday, we had the game Saturday night, but we have some big matchups coming Sunday. Let's go right to it. Okay, then the first question I want to ask you is what's going to happen with Pittsburgh? Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, there was a question said, who's the most valuable player lost? Who's more valuable to his team? Ben Roethlisberger to the Steelers, or was it? I think it was. They were talking about who lost, who got hurt this weekend. Was it Brian Hoyer? No. It was I forgot. But yeah, Hoyer got hurt last night, but it was another player. Yeah, it was. Is it? Was they talking about Carson Palmer? But I forgot the question. It was. I forgot who it was. But somebody said that it was Ben Roethlisberger who was more. Oh no, it was Ben Roethlisberger or Tom Brady to the Patriots. Who would it hurt more to lose? And it was unanimous that it was Ben Roethlisberger because since the Patriots can be without Tom Brady and still win, but it remains to be seen whether the Steelers can win without Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Last season, when Dan got hurt, Landry Jones did come to a lot of people are a little too harsh and reactionary on Landry Jones. He wasn't lighting up the scoreboard or lighting up the stat board.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is hard. And believe what came on the server. At the same time, still have to be able to carry on. Somewhat confident. That would be what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, they're not letting us go for it and putting them around. God, my season when big quarterback. However, still have man in the game. Right now, the problem with the Steelers outside of their injured is that they want to deal with the right tackle is injured and that shows that you know, the way that they're getting pressure. And obviously, you know, the defense, you know, yeah, and remain with it. But it's like the Giants are bringing off the pressure, you know, on the same side where Cameron Hayward is at, versus this part. But right now, those are also crazy issues with this person.
So this week they're taking on. Are they on bye week? No, they're taking on New England.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady is still on his revenge tour. So I know you're a homer, but you got to be worried. You got to be worried.
Right now, Baltimore is, in my opinion, probably worst way of retaining the lead outside of Tennessee. Um, you know, I'm not really that worried. I would like to see a good game from Andrew Jones, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to expect greatness out of the Steelers coming into this game without Cameron Hayward, without Bill Roethlisberger, and the coach, you know, had stitches in hand from the injury that he suffered before last. You don't know how healthy he is when he comes into the game. So, you know, it's just a lot of injuries. Guys got to step it up, and the Steelers are playing kind of behind coming into the game. So, you know, I don't think that at the end of the season that the Steelers lose because, again, most ones are saying England hasn't been world beaters and they're all right. That, you know, it would be a shock. Brown Vegas played it and I think the Ravens are on the bottom. The Ravens have the Jets.
Mm-hmm. So I
The Ravens still going to beat up on each other, and I think the Steelers will still be in moderate position.
mm-hmm. So early, are you gonna get up Sunday morning and try to catch the Giants in LA and in London?
Yeah, I think I'm going to watch that game. I got the Giants in there, and you know, the Rams are so funny, and you know, television will get out.
I mean, they had a much longer trip. I mean, they had to fly out from LA. And well, the Giants, even though there's a long trip, it's a lot shorter trip, not having to go over the continental United States. So, but they've been out there hopefully since I think the Giants flew out yesterday, and I don't know when LA got out there, but it's just a long trip from LA to London. I mean, it's almost unfair. Hopefully they'll both be on bye week next week, and we'll see how that works out. Uh, I'm looking at some of this New Orleans at KC. I don't see any reason why KC can't win that game. Indianapolis at Tennessee, a divisional matchup, which is kind of intriguing. I'm actually thinking that Tennessee can probably pull this out. The Colts are a very bad team. So, yeah. So, right after that, Minnesota at Philly, which is a very intriguing matchup. The Sam Bradford Bowl. Philadelphia trade Sam Bradford at the beginning of the year and to Minnesota that lost Teddy Bridgewater. Now Minnesota is undefeated going back to Philadelphia. That's a 3-2 team, I believe.
Yeah, here's why I told you the break for Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Not look good last week. Looked like a rookie last week. Looked like a rookie against the Minnesota defense.
Yeah. They do have the best defense in the league, Minnesota. That's one of the reasons. I mean, I don't think it's because Sam Bradford's so great. The defense is so great, and they're basically keeping them in games. They're healthy. They're running over people. All Sam Bradford has to do is just not screw it up. So yeah, so the real matchup is Carson Wentz, the rookie, against this very experienced, very good Minnesota Vikings defense. I don't see them taking Minnesota's O. So then they'll go to 3-3, and then we'll see where the confidence is for Carson Wentz after this weekend. I'll be very surprised if they win. Very surprised if Philadelphia beats Minnesota.
Yeah, I would have just a veteran and taken on, but veteran team here. A lot of young kids.
Mm-hmm.
Aguilar, it's Summer Matthews. There's plenty of guys on that team that are very young.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that NFL team is fine, and it's hard to find that team. Starts to really find their mojo and really get into their own more stuff with ball.
Yeah, this is 6 games in. This is going to be we're all truly in the middle of the season, and it's time to start separating the men from the boys. Cincinnati at Cleveland at Cincinnati. See Cincinnati. I don't see any reason why. The Battle of Ohio here. Why Cincinnati? Yeah, Washington at.
Well, I had a quarterback. I would say that the Browns had Cincinnati on the football team. Cleveland has a lot of good young talent on that team. So now you get hurt for a prior question for the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's trouble in Cleveland, man. Unfortunately, outside of football, Cleveland has been the epicenter of right now for baseball and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the Browns, what's going on with that team, look at just yet, the Browns are quite possible to lose 16 games.
That'd be very, very bad. It might take. It might send Deshaun Watson to grad school. Um, Washington at Detroit.
In Washington, I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, and nobody wants to believe me. Kirk Cousins is not in bad shape. Detroit is very bipolar. Uh, you know, you don't know what you're going to get out of Matt Stafford. One week he'll give you 400 yards, the next week he'll give you 200, 100 of those yards, not 1,700 yards. Brad,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Washington. Go ahead of
Okay, Oakland coming back east at Jacksonville. Just always that West Coast to East Coast trip. But Jacksonville, they're turning into they're not a terrible team, but they're a solid team. They're working on some pieces. What do you think?
the Raiders have been struggling the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks, well, the whole
Yeah.
if you look at the Raiders from game one, man, you know, they barely beat New Orleans, lost to the Falcons, barely beat Tennessee, barely beat the Ravens, barely beat the Chargers, and they got up by the Chiefs last week. Can't keep playing from behind the game. They have 2 games quarter and quarter, and playing Jacksonville, and then playing Tampa the week after. I think they get past Jacksonville, but it's going to be tougher.
Yeah. Well, at least they get to stay out east and not. And the league is doing a good thing this year when teams have to go to the other coast. They try to give them 2 games back to back so they don't have to come, back and forth, back and forth. So Buffalo at Miami. Do you Buffalo? Yeah, because Miami's just they're having a hard time fielding 53 players. I mean, just hurt city down there. Baltimore at New York Jets. That's the Jets. Tampa Bay at San Fran.
There's another team that looks like one of the worst teams in football. There's no other team that pick up the game. They will take out.
Yeah, and so and Falcons will be hosting San Diego. You know where I
right now. San Diego got a good feel with it last week, but
Yeah. We already talked about New England at Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, I have to. I know you're gonna be Pittsburgh, but New England. In the night game, Seattle at Arizona.
in Seattle, Seattle needs to prove that they can beat somebody. They haven't beat anybody outside of the Falcons. They can keep the momentum going. They can go in Arizona. Arizona has the pieces to be better, but the quarterback play has been very so far. However, their running back Johnson is like one of the best running backs in football as far as
Oh yeah, that kid looks 5th round pick. How did they miss? I mean, this kid he's the number 1 back in the league right now. Yeah. And on Monday night, the return of Brock Osweiler. Houston at Denver.
Sure, Denver. I don't know. Denver's playing pretty bad football on their own, right? The question is, they make it really healthy. I think that if they get the potential of this working, I don't know about that. The guys have been very good out there. I don't know. Maybe people are starting to figure him out, but he doesn't look very healthy.
I mean, really, it's not an upset to me because I'm favoring Denver to win this matchup because who knows Brock Osweiler better than the Denver defense? I will be surprised. If Houston is the favorite, I'm surprised. I got Denver all the way. Especially since J.J. Watt has been sidelined for the rest of the season. Jadeveon Clowney seems like he's trying to make some noise, but I don't see where he's come back and see that he can run it by himself. And Brock Osweiler has just looked. He's off and he's on. He's on sometimes, then he's off. I mean, he's got the better offense. I mean, with DeAndre and with Will Fuller and with Lamar Miller putting in some great yards running the game in the running game. I mean, Houston should be the favorite, but I see Denver pulling it out on, especially at home in Denver. So Brock Osweiler, I'll be watching. I'll be very interested. I'll be watching. So it'll be definitely a good matchup. Well, it is almost 8 o'clock, and it's time for the next show to start. We finally got through it. I got through it. I'm doing it by myself. Give myself a hand. And we're going to wrap this show up, and next week we'll be in the studio. We'll be right before Halloween, our Halloween show. Maybe we'll have some surprises for you. But thanks, Aaron. And you can have some more fun down in Tampa, and I'm going to try to close the show up here. AUMA Radio, Sold Out Sports. See you guys next week.
Have a good show. Yeah.
You're and you put the ice cubes on this hell when I'm coming up. Wait, hold on, I'm this girl. Today I didn't even have to use my extra. I gotta say a word to the Hey, wait a minute, stop. What the fuck I'm thinking about?
Just yeah. Look, I got dreams of being the great, but underrated. Dreams of getting love in my city, but they still hate that. I came for the unity, that's up for the debate. Once you start the top, niggas know what to take. When they ain't even been all the places, or ran all the races. I feel that you can tell when you take it. I don't get it, fucking friendship, they all fake. Cause it comes to be two sides, but it's all fake. And you can tell by these fake niggas handshakes. And if the combo stays in the same place, they don't wanna fuck with you until they see you shine. But they don't wanna see you shine, make you wanna die. And they don't wanna take the time to get to know you. Give them some favors to the tickets that's the whole you. And we ain't even gonna start on the bitches. Cause in Atlanta, that can make a break a fish. I'm just tired of that big shit. Ooh, I'm just tired. I'm tired. I ain't got time for that ain't shit. Ooh, I ain't got time. Don't come around with that big shit. Ooh, don't come around. I ain't got time for that fake shit. Oh, I ain't got time. Don't come around me if you can alone, envious. Talk shit behind my back, act innocent. People think you had it easy with no trouble. How the fuck you think I'm doing these numbers? Depression. Everything I got was tested. I remember at times I second guessed it. But niggas sweating on your story cause they heard a chapter. But they don't read up on it that we had to take after. Damn, it's hitting me hard. I remember sitting in cars on Boulevard. I remember having it all to lose it all. I remember it was two niggas I couldn't call. I remember how it felt to be alone. I remember working like I had a clone. Nigga put me on, if you can't, then move on. I ain't got room for no niggas teaching wrong. I'm just tired of that big shit. Ooh, I'm just tired. I'm tired. I ain't got time for that ain't shit. Ooh, I ain't got time. Don't come around with that big shit. Ooh, don't come around. Cause I ain't got time for that big shit. Ooh, I ain't got time.